All right, so it looks like we are live. So, hello everyone, and welcome to the Good Old Gamer. Hope everybody's having a great weekend, and if you're here in the States, hopefully you're off tomorrow and enjoying a nice Labor Day weekend. So, I want to thank everybody for joining me on kind of a different day. My wife was out of town. Took our niece to go see a play out of town, and, well, juggling two baby boys and doing a live stream on Friday was not a thing. And I was completely wiped yesterday, so that was kind of off the table. So here we are here today, which happens to work out because we get to play with STARFIELD. Woohoo! STARFIELD! Yeah! Everybody's super excited for this game. And to be honest, I didn't play a lot of it, but it's a Bethesda game. If you like Fallout, you're probably going to like this game. So to me, it doesn't seem like it's going to be earth-shattering, like the best, most amazing thing ever, but it's not going to be a bad game. I think it's going to end up being okay. The real problem is the thing just doesn't want to run, and man, is it an interesting little beast. So we're going to be taking a look at that here today live. We're going to be using an entry-level system, because I keep hearing it's memory bandwidth limited, or CPU limited, which is both bullshit, by the way, so I'm just going to ruin that one. And, I might have cursed too early on this stream. So make sure you smash that like button so we can basically curb the YouTube algorithm who's going to be like, uh-oh, he said a bad word, so we can't get anybody in there. Although it seems like a lot of people are interested in this. Real quick, just check in. If you guys can let me know, make sure you can see and hear me and, you know, all that stuff. I'm assuming everything's working. Levels and everything look good, but usually somebody says, hey, I can see and hear you. Fantastic. But yeah, this is going to be kind of an interesting one. We were talking a lot in the Discord, which if you want to become a member and gain access, you can hit the little join button down below. We were talking a lot about this game, so I was like, okay, let me test this out for myself. I started off using this system right here, which you can't see anymore because we rearranged everything, but that's got the 13600K and the 3080 in there, and I was able to get 1440p 60-ish, and I'm like, you know, that'd be fine if this was like groundbreaking, next level, photorealistic sort of a game. This is not that, so I'm like, I have no idea why this is running so poorly. And then I was like, can I even get 1080p 60 running on, you know, an RTX 3060? Kind of, not really. So we'll take a look at that. And then I'm like, what's the issue? There's no options in the menu. So I was like, okay, let's turn everything to low. That does not much for you. And then I was like, let's go ahead and just try to remove the GPU as the bottleneck on a 12100. And so I lowered it down to 540p on a 4K display. So you have to set your desktop to 1080p because this thing doesn't have exclusive full screen, and lowered it all the way to 50% scaling to get to 540p. And the results I could not believe. So I'm like, let's show you guys. So I'm excited for this one. The game looks meh and is for this kind of performance you get 100%. Like, it's visually, like, it looks okay. It looks like every other game that's come out in the past 6 or 7 years. Pretty much late last gen, 8th gen games to current. It's kind of on par with those. I would say that there's a lot of games that have come out in the last 6-7 years that are actually visually more impressive. Everybody says like Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great example, which it is because it's a large open world game and looks way better than this game. So it's like, come on guys, that'll run no problem on a 3080 or a 4090 or you know, any modern graphics card. Like, that game just runs like butter. So what's the issue? I don't know what the issue is, but I can definitively show you guys, and this is what we're going to do. Well, assuming you tuned in your memory, which if you're watching this channel, I'm assuming most of you have, it's not going to be your memory latency, it's not going to be your memory bandwidth, and it's sure as hell not going to be your CPU, as long as you have anything halfway decent. 12100 level or better. So I'll show you guys all that here in just a little bit. But yeah, if you get smash that like button, get on in here. I'm guessing you guys can see and hear me. Still nobody said that we can. Let's see. Blessed be Bethesda products. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a fun game. If you like Fallout, I would say if you like Elder Scrolls, but don't like Fallout, this is probably not going to be for you. It's basically Fallout in space. A good example would be if you played The Outer Worlds. kind of that thus far. That's basically what I'm getting. It's the Outer Worlds Bethesda edition. It's like they played that game and they're like, haha, we can do better. Okay, good job, Bethesda. So I think it'll be all right. Chris, what do you think about Paul's drugs? He finally fixed his mic. Drastic personality change. I don't know. I mean, he was going through some stuff and he seems to be better. So I'm guessing they're helping. He says he's better. I watched his stream earlier a little bit and I don't know, it seems all right. Mike Moore says he loves the Outer Worlds. Boom, pick up this game. Don't ask questions. Consume products. Spend the extra $40 and play it today. I wish I had affiliate links, so save the money and just wait a couple of days. However, if I had affiliate links, why wait? Play it now. Oh, man, yeah. Anyways, the internet. This is what the internet has become. Why wait? Buy product. Don't think. Spend money. Love it. RTX 2060 1080p low 30. Yes. The real issue isn't so much your graphics card's not fast enough. It's not, I'll show you guys, but the GPU is just not even being utilized. So for example, I normally run, because it's in a tiny PC. Let me pull this up. I can show you the case that I'm using. This is in a little tiny guy. I was going to show you guys some B-roll, but I'm like on live stream. That's kind of annoying. But let's get this pulled on over. So do we still have it? No. Mini ITX case. I think it's like the A1 something. Yeah, that's it. So it's running this little guy. Little tiny single fan GPU in there. And so I normally run it a little undervolted. So 850 millivolts, 1900 megahertz. And I was like, all right, well, let's try and push it. So even overclocked the balls out of it, it's still drawing the same amount of power as my undervolt most of the time. So I'm like, how does that make any sense? This thing's running, I'm running it at 1 volt now, 2100 megahertz. I'm like, what do you mean? You know, normally that's huge. It's not fully utilizing graphics cards, which by the way, this case is really, really cool. It's super small. I should do a video on it. I have the B-roll. I don't know, man. Product highlight videos, I just don't like doing them. I just like buying the stuff, testing it out, and going, yeah, this is cool. You have to be real careful with the graphics card, though. It cannot be more than a dual slot. Found that out. I got the Asus Phoenix. It does not quite fit. It's like a 2.2 slot thickness. That don't work. You need something that's exactly dual slot. And 195 millimeters in length, which they do say on here. But anyways, it's a tiny little case. It's a little, tiny little living room emulation fun PC. And we'll see how... I don't know. Like I said, the GPU's not even being utilized. So overclocking didn't really help much. Yeah, it's nuts. Buy new things because new things are good. Yes, Crawling Chaos, you got it 100%. You got to buy the new thing. Not only is it good because it's new, it is better. Even if it's slower, it's new, therefore automatically better, regardless of performance and price and everything else. So, you know, AMD's really picked up on that one with the 7800 XT. This is totally better than the 6800 XT, which is the same price and faster. But it's totally better because it's new. And yeah, that's their marketing strategy. You know, we'll see if it works for them. What CPU did you throw in there? 12100F. Eventually, I'll throw in a, I don't know, 12600K or 13600K, and we'll undervolt the balls out of it. I really kind of want Raptor Lake. Raptor Lake just runs so much faster for the voltage than Alder Lake. Lol, 7800 XT. Yeah, it's whatever, man. I hope AMD's strategy works for them. I really don't want NVIDIA to be an actual monopoly. NVIDIA doesn't want to be an actual monopoly, but we'll see. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Oblivion's a great game as a meme. Oblivion was all right. It was just such a step down from Morrowind. It's definitely more normie friendly than Morrowind, but overall, like, once you get the hang of how Morrowind plays, you know, like, even Skyrim is a joke next to Morrowind. Morrowind is just vastly superior game to the other Elder Scrolls games. Even the earlier ones, I tried playing those. It's just hard to play. I don't mind graphics, but it's just difficult to play due to the technical limitations of the era. It's just hard to actually play those games. 7800 XT, 1000 more, 1000 more than the 6800 XT. I don't even understand what that means. Is it gay to use makeup as a man? I would answer that, but we're on YouTube, and then, I don't know, I get canceled or something. So we're not going to touch that one. Ask ChatGPT, see what that thing says. That would actually be a pretty funny answer, I'd imagine. Thumbnail appears as though you're wanting to take the D. Hey, man, it gets the clicks. We had double the amount of people waiting for this stream. So, hey, man, everybody just wants the open mouth face. They want it. Take the D from Starfield, ramming it up your butt and giving you shitty graphics with shit performance. Yeah, I think we'll probably just jump into that here real quick because I'm still, let's see, how many people we got in here? Only 28 likes, and there's 63 people in here. Let's smash that like button, boys. We got to get more people in here. I want to jump on over so this way you guys can have all the information that I gathered this morning, which is, man, they need more options in this menu so I could actually figure out what's killing it. To be honest, max settings, Starfield's kind of ugly. Well, that's because you can't alter settings. The difference between ultra and low is almost non-existent. Because all of the settings that actually impact performance in any meaningful way, you don't have access to. That's the real problem here. If I could go through and turn literally everything off, so it's just geometry with textures, and then I can turn everything on, then I could identify what's absolutely murdering performance, and then just tell you guys, hey, leave this off. We'll take a look at the menu here in a minute, but they give you like 8 options, and they do literally nothing. Overall, you'll get back, I think, like 20% performance or something. So it's best to just run the damn game on low. You have no access to textures, so the textures, whether you run low or ultra, do not change. So it just is what it is. Yeah, you're just best off running the game on low to try to squeeze back some performance out of the game. Take that 20% and be like, all right, well, at least we got that. And then if you want to do res scaling, that's your call, but man, does that not work. But anyways, we'll take a look at it here in a sec. And then there's a few stories to talk about. I checked video cards before we came on. I was like, is there any news? Apparently there's a couple of cool things we could chat about, so we'll do that afterwards as well. So, alrighty, up to 45 likes. We're doing halfway decent. Let's go ahead and jump on over. And I gotta switch my display so I can see what the heck we're actually doing. All right, so HDMI capture. Did the thing go to sleep? I think my computer went to sleep. Wake up, computer. There we go. All righty. So we got that, and that. All right, sweet. Well, let's jump on in. Let's Starfield. All right, Starfield. All right, let's see. This is running 4K. Okay, so we can't go low enough. I have to actually get out of the game. I got to get out of here. I was like, why is my afterburner looking so small? Quit. So this is also super annoying. So to get really low resolutions, I need to go and change my desktop to 1080p because we need the lowest resolution humanly possible here, which is really, really stupid. Anyways, let's get back on in here. Sorry, the activate Windows thing pops up bigger when you lower your res because they're really annoying. The fun part is if I restart the computer, that goes away. I'll probably just do that. But anyways, don't care. Test PCs for the most part. All right, so let's get into our settings. So I'll show you guys the dismal settings that we have. Here, I'll even remove that so you can see it in all of its glory, the lack of options. So you have to go with borderless full screen, otherwise it'll just shrink down, like integer scale it, which is stupid. Dynamic res, turn that crap off. Graphical presets, low. Like I said, just turn everything off. You need all the performance you can get. Film grain, make sure you turn that off. That's just dumb. So we're turning all that stuff off. We're going to do with cast upscaling. And we're going to down res this all the way down to 50%. So we're going to run 540p. Now, we're testing to see if it's memory bandwidth or if it's CPU bottleneck. Okay, so this is literally as low as I can go. Everything off, 540p. It's gonna look like ass. But let's take a look-see here and well, let me show you some stuff. So let's jump on in. Two-hour, 100% Starfield speedrun. Oh, yeah, look at them graphics. Oh, this is super annoying. Because of the stupid capture device, I'm going to be locked to 60. Yeah, this game is so shit that I can't even, like, it won't run unlocked. Maybe it can't. Hold on. Forgot about that. All my displays are 120 hertz, so, like, this hasn't been a problem, because good luck trying to get a 120 hertz. NVIDIA, if you watched my video the other day, I do run the VSync through NVIDIA, so maybe that's what's doing it. Maybe that's it. Let's turn that off. Let's force VSync off. Maybe that's what's doing it. Alright, let's get back on in here. No, let's see. No, we're still crap to 60. That is super annoying. I need better capture devices. We need HDMI 2.1 capture devices. I need 4K 120. Okay, so this is gonna kind of ruin this. But anyways, as you can see, at 60, we're definitely not CPU bound, but that is not what we want to do. Let's see if I can turn off this borderless full screen stuff. Maybe that'll do it. Come on. This is how annoying this game is. It won't even let you do anything that you want. Window screen size, sure, let's do that. Go back. Can I go over 60? Can't go over 60. 540p looks like a Wii game. Yeah, well, who cares? You're not supposed to be playing the game like this. We're supposed to be testing the game like this. Still won't do it. Can I... Why? Can I try to force 120 hertz? Can we make that a thing? All right. Display settings. Maybe I can. Crap. I didn't think so. Not through the capture device. Well, sorry, boys. That's going to be super annoying. Stupid game. So, Bethesda, if you're watching this, yeah, let's have actual uncapped frame rates. Actual full screen. Let me actually be able to do what I need to do. And game capture developers or manufacturers. 4K 120. Let's make it happen. I'm not wasting time on 4K 60 crap. All right, so we're gonna do that. Generic, blah 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 blah. I guess we can raise the resolution. Suppose that'd be an option. Just go to 100%. Well, we can just turn this off. All right, so this is actual 1080p low. And you can see you're completely GPU capped at 1080p low. The CPU isn't the bottleneck. And this is this at Atlantis area. I had to play to get to this point because everybody's like, this is where your CPU bound. In reality, at 540p, the CPU and GPU start trading blows. So that's when we have a higher frame rate that we can go to. The 12100F will pump out about 100 to 120 FPS, regardless of the scene, even here. That's where it starts capping out. The lowest I've seen when we were CPU limited was like 90, but usually it's around 100 to 120. So it's not the CPU that's the bottleneck, which unfortunately I can't show you. But clearly we are GPU bound in this particular area. Now, what I found interesting is, let me go to my earlier saves. It was this one. We can kind of test some stuff out in this area. Yeah, the texture, this game was designed for 3 GB or 6 GB GPUs. This isn't the right one. This is like the beginning of the game. Try that one. 49 minutes in. That sounds about right. Okay. So this is the first area you can kind of like dick around. And so what I noticed, check this out. So if we stare at this building over here, we are completely GPU bound. And it just goes absolutely nuts. Now, let's say I guess that's why I was on top of the rock here. I could survey these surroundings. Now, if we go, like, obviously, even over here, look at that GPU usage. It just drops dramatically. But you look at the building, and it goes, like, through the moon. Now, we look over here, and then still pretty high. Going over here, and it drops dramatically. So, the buildings on screen are absolutely crippling the GPU. Why? Don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of geometry there. This is low res, you know, as it can get. It just absolutely murders your performance. Now, out here, you're able to get like really high frame rate when you're not using a capture device and arbitrarily being locked your refresh rate on your monitor, which in this case is the capture device. This will do like 120 FPS. It does just fine. But the second you go ahead and get any buildings on screen, like that, your GPU utilization will just go through the moon. And this game is completely GPU bound. Now, if we're taking a look at the power usage on the graphics card, even though it's completely GPU bound, 2100 megahertz, we're drawing very little power. Remember, the 3060 is a 180 watt graphics card. So it's not even pulling what it should be. And this is overclocked. You know, out of the box, it runs at 1 volt. I just push the clocks even higher. So it's not even using the majority of the graphics card horsepower, or a large portion of it. So, yeah, for the most part, the game, it's not CPU bound. The 12100, as you can see, you're getting at least the 60 FPS when the GPU is not the issue. Like I said, the CPU limitations that I found is 90 to 120. 90 inside of that Atlantis area, which is more CPU demanding than like this. But yeah, most of the time, like traversal and whatever, you'll get 100, 120 FPS on a 12100. No problem. But your graphics card's going to be the issue. And why is it running this poorly? Don't know. Like, is this what, you know, 60 FPS RTX 3060 games look like to you guys? Like, I'm guessing it's all that volumetrics. Look at all that fog. Like, just blurry. Anyways, I just wanted to show you guys that it's clearly a GPU issue, and my guess is it's probably a driver issue. Particularly with NVIDIA, they're likely going to get massive performance gains. The only areas where the GPU seems to be pulling the proper amount of power is indoors. So it seems like indoors, the GPU is being utilized properly. You can go inside this building. The next mission was like, this isn't it. The next mission, you go to like a bandit camp or something, and in there, it was pulling like 150 watts, 140, 150 watts, which is more in line with what you'd expect the 3060 at 1 volt to be pulling. So, yeah, I'm really sorry that I couldn't show you guys there. You know, if we get some donos here, and maybe we can find ourselves a better capture device for the future. I want to get one anyway, but like I said, I'm waiting for the new HDMI 2.1s. We can do 4K 120 compressed all the way down with AV1 on YouTube, but I'll need more upload bandwidth, honestly, for that. But at the very least, at that point, I can show you 120 hertz coming through. But yeah, that's been my experience. It's all GPU, guys, and it all depends on what's on the scene. So anybody out there that's like, it's the CPU or it's memory bandwidth, well, maybe it's memory latency, because I'm running dual rank B die, 32 gigs of B die. I'll show you guys C14. But yeah, we'll leave it there. That's Starfield in a nutshell. It does not look very good and runs like complete and utter dog shit. So I'm gonna read what you guys were talking about there, and we will discuss. Denver, thank you for the 20 months of support, buddy. He says, so my 4770K good enough for a 3070? In this game, probably. In this game, you probably need like a 4090 or something to max out a 4770K. Remember the B-die nonsense with the original Ryzen? Well, B-die will get you 12% faster performance. Somewhere in that range, 10 to 12%. Over using just like your stock standard 3200 C16 stuff. So it's worth it if you want to get the most out of your system. 2060 Super with 8 GB competes with 3060 12 gig. Well, yeah, they're the same performance. 2060 Super and 3060, same performance. This is great. Yeah, it's a joke, isn't it? Indian moon landing had better graphics. I don't even know what game that is. How else are you gonna sell the 4070? The 4070 is probably the best graphics card of this generation for most people. So don't be worried. Those are selling just fine. But the 4070 is not gonna run this game. No game's gonna run, or no GPU is gonna properly run this game yet. And the fact that the GPU utilization is so high, yet the power consumption is so low, means basically it's lying to you about how much of the GPU power it's actually, or resources it's using. It's not using 100% of the graphics card. Otherwise, the power consumption would match other games. For example, God of War is a game that runs really, really heavy on your graphics card. Your power consumption will be very, very high in that particular game because it's utilizing literally every scrap of resources in it. Most games aren't as heavy as God of War, but I've never seen a game quite this light while delivering such bad performance, except on Intel graphics cards. Intel graphics cards that are not optimized and they're not running properly run exactly like this. So that's why I'm like, there's going to be a lot of performance improvements through drivers and game updates as time goes on. So basically all of the information that's out there, all of the performance metrics and benchmarks, just throw those in the trash. Give this thing like a month or two to mature, and then you should be getting much better performance. Because it's all software side. It's not the hardware. Hardware is not being properly utilized. The 12100F, which by the way, $80. Got this one on sale for $80. My other 12100 had an issue, so he had to be replaced. But these go on sale for $80. More than adequate to play this game, even in its CPU demanding area. So don't worry about that. Yet another game where an $80 CPU is all you need for playable single player performance. It's hilarious. Do you know why games don't come with full screen anymore? I don't get it. At least most games, like the Sony games, I think they do have it as an option, but they'll do the borderless windowed thing by default. But you can change the resolution without having to use a silly upscaler, and it'll just stretch the image for you. So, not entirely sure why they're doing what they're doing, but is what it is, man. I don't like it. Without native full screen, it's super annoying. I have to change my desktop to lower the resolution below 1080p on a 4K display. Now, I get it. You don't want to be running like 540p on a 4K display. I understand that. It's not ideal. But if somebody wants to troubleshoot and figure things out, it's nice to have. I think going down to like 30% res or something might be a better way to go. Just a little bit lower, 20 or 25%. Obviously, you can't be at 0% resolution because that wouldn't work. But 20, 25, 30, somewhere in there, I think would be low enough. And then I wouldn't have to screw around changing my desktop resolution just to check CPU bottlenecks. Annoying. Denver, thank you for the 5 spot. He said the last time I saw utilization this high with power this low, I accidentally put the GTX 1080 on a 4 times 2x slot. Yeah, exactly. I think the last time I saw it was the game used the iGPU instead of the actual discrete graphics card. I think that was the last time that I really saw it. But I noticed that happened with the Intel Arc graphics card here recently. But this doesn't have an iGPU, so I'm like, that clearly can't be it because there is none. It's an F. So yeah, who knows? Like I said, there's a lot more in the tank. If you want to play the game, once again, if you like Fallout or The Outer Worlds, you will like the game. The game, it feels better than I thought. You know, they got the atmosphere part right. Most modern games just don't pay any attention to the atmosphere of their games, like the background music and things like that. They really just kind of get you in like the right mood for the type of game. They did a really good job on that part. So it's a game that I can see a lot of people having fun with. I just wouldn't go out paying for it and playing it right now. Just give it a month or two. Intel doesn't even have drivers for it yet, which lends me to believe that Intel and NVIDIA probably didn't get access to the game early enough. And this is the reason why you're seeing a lot of the AMD cards do much better relative to their NVIDIA counterparts, as they are partners and their GPUs are likely far more optimized. So my guess is you'll see the NVIDIA cards here in the future, anywhere up to, I'd say, probably about 50%. I don't know if it'd go quite that high, but looking at that utilization, there's at least 33% more performance in that card that is not being tapped. So I would expect a massive performance bump on the NVIDIA cards in the not too distant future. And then Intel, just obviously they're waiting. So yeah, I would just give the game a month to kind of marinate. Obviously Bethesda will hopefully put some fixes in there, like full screen. Full screen would be great. It'd be beautiful. I'd really appreciate that. And allow me to pick the resolution I want to run the game at. Even if it's like 240p. Let me do what I want. It's my life. Now, this game, with all of its blurry, muddy graphics that you can't turn off, I think that this is a perfect candidate for any of you guys out there that still rock a CRT. That's something I'm going to test this game on. I actually been meaning to replace the monitor right here that's under the camera. I'm going to put a CRT over there. So I'm going to have the CRT and the OLED. And then I think I'm going to do a video on that. It's like, can CRTs save Starfield and their shitty graphics and performance? Because we'll be running 1024 by 768. Because my CRT will do 120 hertz at 1024 by 768. And, then we'll see if the 3060 can push that. That'd be funny if I still have to run low at 1024 by 768. But I think a CRT with the really blurry presentation that this game is giving off might be better suited. Now, if you run it at 4K, which I did test with the 3080, it does look really good at 4K on the OLED. But no graphics card, including the 4090, can run this game properly at 4K. And before anybody goes, but FSR, if you're running FSR quality, that's 1440p. I don't care what you call it. You can say it's outputting. It's not. You're running 1440p with some stuff. To actually run the game at 4K, no graphics card can run that well enough, in my opinion, at this point in time. So we'll need performance updates before that's even an option. I've had to do borderless window mode for certain games due to G-Sync flickering. Yeah, I mean, borderless windowed mode will fix certain games. I know the old Crysis games, Crysis 1 and like Crysis Warhead, the original ones, not the remasters, to get the frame rate over a certain limit or something, there's some issue there. You have to like inject something to make borderless windowed to fix that game. Luckily, with the remasters, you don't have to screw with that. However, if you want to play Crysis Warhead, you still have to do that, which is super annoying. Or you can just run it windowed mode with, like, the box around it. Last time I tested it was actually not too long ago for an Intel Arc video. I just ran it with the border around it, but there is a fix to get rid of that. So yeah, windowed borderless does fix things in some games. But as you just saw, it also limits you and causes problems in others. So it's just nice to have the option for borderless windowed and full screen. Like most games used to do. Month or two, they're gonna speed run in a week, break every cheat, and everyone will forget that it existed. These are the type of games, man, that you just, if you like it, you'll go back and play it every couple of years, every year or two. So it's not about beating the game. I don't think anybody cares about just getting to the end. Speedrunners, I guess, but whatever. Miko, thank God for this channel. Well, I appreciate that. Can't believe how many tech channels are dragging their feet on the CPU benchmark. Well, that's because it's a big fat nothing burger. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you. I completely forgot about. This game's just weird. It will just lock to whatever your refresh rate is. So, yeah, if we get some support here, guys, I am going to need to get an HDMI 2.1 capture. They're supposed to be out this holiday. They're probably going to be like $300 or $400, which is fine because that's probably the last capture device I'll need. It's also the reason why I'm running the Z690G, because I need that little slot at the bottom. I'm sure it's going to need to be a PCIe card to properly capture HDMI 2.1 4K 120. So I was like, all right, triple slot GPU support and capture device. That'll work. Nice video you did, Chris. Got a lot of value out of it. If you're talking about yesterday's video, yeah, that was a good one. You can thank the guys in the Discord for that one. They were just, I think it was PF. He was having issues. He's like, games and stuttering and this and that. It's like, yeah, well, this is normal if you run uncapped frame rate. Literally normal. But if you frame cap, boom. Single player games, that makes sense. Even if you play competitively, if you can get a high enough frame rate, if you're like at, let's say, bouncing between 400 and 600 and your display is only 360 hertz, cap it to 360. Perfect frame times there. But, everybody wants to do their thing. Competitive play is the only area where I can see unlocked frames really making that much of a difference. Especially nowadays, you can get a 240 or 360 hertz display, right? So if you're like, I like my games higher than 120 FPS, cool, get a 240 hertz display, cap at 240. That'll help, in the games that are trying to push way higher than that. Plus, you won't blow up your 4090 in menus because it's not pushing, thousands of frames per second. So you can think of it as a plan B to save your graphics card for when NVIDIA or the game developer screw something up. So there you go. It's got plan B built right into it. SF. Oh, Starfield only has borderless window. Does DirectX 12 not have full screen? Of course it does. DirectX 12 isn't anything like special. It's the same thing. You can literally run DirectX 11 in DirectX 12 if you wanted to. No, it's game developer choices, which is very strange. A lot of newer games, they're really stripping out a lot of the customizability. My buddy Danny Z, he did a video yesterday. He showed you Gears 5. I was playing that recently. Now that's a menu. Like literally you can take everything on and off. I know how to edit a UE configuration file, right? I could just go in there if I had to and manually do it. But they literally allowed you in the GUI to change everything in that game. Now, I'd say that's probably the gold standard for customizability for a game, and that's what everybody should be targeting. This game and like Remnant and a lot of these more recent games aren't even in the same league as Gears 5 in terms of customizability of your options. And I don't know what the issue is. Maybe it's newer or newer gamers just don't take advantage of it. We talked about last week how this is AMD's kind of plan. They're going to target the Joe Normies that just don't want to screw with any of this. They want the one-click solution to go ahead and make their games run better. And they just don't want to do anything. Set everything to ultra. Let the driver downgrade everything until it runs at proper performance. I don't know. I come from an era where you, as the PC enthusiast and gamer, were literally setting IRQs for your audio. You had to tell the computer exactly how the audio signal needed to be routed. Trust me, that was annoying as all get out, especially I was a kid at the time, and I was like, why am I doing this? And it was a lot of trial and error, to be perfectly honest with you, when I was a kid, because I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just sitting there screwing around. I'm like, this isn't working. How do we fix this? Things obviously are better than that now, but like things kind of got to that nice level where you had access to everything. Most things just worked. But now they're starting to take away a lot of stuff from you and just go, hey, just buy the Radeon card and, run the game at 540p upscaled to 4K. Don't worry about it. It'll be just fine. You got that $200 graphics card. It'll do 150 FPS in this game. It's fine. Just go ahead and play. And that's a really good strategy, right? Frame generations and all the rest of that. The game's really running at like 12 FPS or something. But it looks like it's running 60 or 80 or 100 or whatever. And as long as the Joe Normie is like, yeah, that's good enough for me. It's kind of like Netflix. The diehard people were like, nah, 4K Blu-rays are vastly superior. Netflix was good enough for the masses, and 4K Blu-rays, they still exist, but mostly just for collectors and purists out there. For the most part, those things don't really exist. I saw the Best Buy DVD area the other day. It's literally one row, like one row of shelves. I remember that used to be like one of the reasons to go there, peruse the TV selection and see, maybe you missed something or whatever. Nobody does that anymore. That's why they don't dedicate any areas to it. So convenience always wins. 117 FPS average is my with the 12700K, which, as I just said, the CPU doesn't really matter. That's at 720p DLSS. Yeah, depending on your graphics card. Yeah, it's pretty freaking stupid. Yeah. It's nuts. Like I said, you're going to get a lot of performance fixes for this. I guarantee it. 5960X nets 80 FPS. That's pretty good. Overall, I was gonna say the extra cores probably aren't helping, would be my guess. That's why single thread on the 12100 is better. But yeah, the 5960X in games that can properly utilize it is a little bit faster. It's kind of a back and forth. X99 RAM setup dominates this game compared to AMD counterparts. Well, X99 with quad channel, I actually have one somewhere over there. It's like it's DDR5. It's like DDR5 6400. So yeah, it's definitely better than any other DDR4 for memory bandwidth anyway. Golden Age of XP. Well, the IRQ stuff, that's DOS and Windows 98. By the time XP came around, you had your Sound Blaster like Audigy 2 and all of that stuff, your EAX. That stuff all worked pretty much straight out of the jump. I didn't really have too many issues once we got to XP. It was 95, 98 DOS before that. Those were the days. Remember when games would come with a manual like this, but half of it was like telling you how to set up the game? This is how you install it. This is how you troubleshoot. Because there was no real internet at the time. So if they didn't give you a book, they'd be getting a lot of returns. Setting up IRQs, that was easy. Setting up DOS startup files to free up base RAM was a challenge. I mean, again, yeah, you can go down that rabbit hole. But what I'm saying is today people can't even be bothered to manually tune their settings in games. Like, we've slipped so far off of that. I think it needs to be mandatory that any PC gamer post 2004 or 5, you need to go use DOS for, let's say, 3 months and troubleshoot it. And I'm talking like an old rusty machine that's going to break down and have issues, and nobody's allowed to help you. You just get a giant book and it's like, there you go, make it work. And then a lot of people will be much more knowledgeable on things and they'd be able to do that. But that takes time and effort and whatever. And ain't nobody got time for effort and knowledge anymore. It's give me my one-click solution, AMD. Save me from all of these settings and options, and I can't handle that. Let's go ahead and let me just click a button and play my game. Like, you can buy a console, right? You just click install and you're done. No. Need PC. Need my 4090. Okay, I don't know, man. Modern day PC gamer, I can't relate. I just can't understand them anymore. And if you're in there in the chat, I'm not trying to like make fun of you. This is how, unfortunately, like I just view the situation from a lot of comment sections and talking with a lot of people. They just simply didn't have to go through any sort of challenges ever when it came to this, so they just expect everything to work. And then when a game like this comes along and they're like, why doesn't this work? Which it clearly doesn't, as I just showed you. An RTX 3060 at 540p. What was the frame? Oh, well, we were locked at 60. But still, the GPU is at like, what, 80-something%? It's freaking ridiculous. 540p, low? Get out of here. And we know it's not a VRAM thing. Number one, it's got 12. Number two, it's 540p. And number three, it's only using like 5 or 6 gigs of VRAM. So, and that's what it's showing you. That's allocated. So, yeah, it's just weird. So a lot of people are misdiagnosing this because they just don't know. They just don't know how to properly test these things. It's graphics drivers. It's the game. It's the software. It will get better. The game, luckily, like I said, is reasonably fun. The 3080 and like a 6800 XT, you can run 1440p. I recommend a mix between high and low settings. Things like shadows and stuff that don't matter. Turn to low. Just turn them all the way down. And then you'll get 1440p 60, which isn't, I mean, it's definitely playable. And that's the level, to me, those are 1440p graphics cards, right? Like, hey, I want to play 1440p, 3080, 6800 XT, the upcoming 7800 XT, all the way up to like the 4070 Ti and 7900 XT. To me, that's your 1440p range. You can throw the 2080 Ti in there as well. That's your 1440p range. Everything below that, that's 1080p territory. And then 4K is literally just 7900 XTX, 4080, 4090. That's what you get for 4K. So it plays fine in the range that it's supposed to. It's just, I was expecting more than like 60 FPS, right? Because you can lock it to 60 and that'll work fine, but it's just nuts that you can't get like 100 FPS on that configuration. The good old days when PC games came with thick manuals. Yes, like I said, a large portion of that was troubleshooting the install, because even if you followed the instructions, it still might not have worked. I mean, games back in the day were, trust me, things are way better now. Let's be honest. They are. It's just, I think we've jumped the shark a bit, and things are getting too easy, too convenient, and people are getting too lazy and just don't have enough knowledge of anything. That's what's allowing these companies to come out with, I have a solution. We're going to inject some fake frames in there for you. It's a solution to this modern problem. Or they could just give you a giant, customizable list in the menu where you can turn everything on and off to varying degrees, whatever they decide to set up, and then you can pick and choose how you want the game to look and perform. That seems to be going away here recently. I don't like that, because that allows me to get whatever hardware I'm using, high-end, low-end, mid-range, ancient, whatever. I can get the optimal experience for whatever the heck I have. Today's thing is, like I said, it's just about what's the easiest thing you can do. Throw on upscaling. Don't worry, it's fine. Don't worry. You want to run 4K or 1440p? Yeah, you'll love 1080p and 720. Trust me, you'll love it. It's totally fine. It's totally going to work good. Just shut up and play the game. No, I don't want that to be the only answer. That's just me. Overclocking died fast on Intel with case series. It doesn't make a lot of sense on like the i9s, because those are pretty damn high out of the box. But on the i5s, oh yeah, you want to overclock those, because they'll clock the same speed as the i9s. Out of the box, they cripple those things way too much. So yeah, you still want to overclock. It really depends. Like I said, if you get like a 13900K or the upcoming 14900K, which we'll take a look at here in a sec, there's some news on that. Overclocking's kind of not exactly necessary, which I did a video on that. You can just get like a B760 motherboard or something. Save a whole bunch of money. Just stick with the 5.5 gigahertz that they give you and undervolt. Boom, done. Now, if you want that extra 100 or 200 megahertz, go pay the money. But, you know, like the, was it the 13600K? I think that's 5.1 gigahertz. Take your free 10% and clock that up to 5.5 or 5.6. It's just too low. If 12100 was unlocked, no one would buy anything else. I would say probably the 12400, nobody would buy anything else. There are some games where you want those 2 extra cores. Not that this can't play everything just fine. It can. It's just those 2 extra cores can get you a good bit. It'll scale well enough that it's worth it. Going from a 6-core to an 8-core does not scale very well in most games, to the point of being completely useless in most, regardless of your graphics card, by the way. So, but yeah, quad cores still perfectly fine, assuming you're not going to be alt-tabbing and you know, streaming 15 videos and a bunch of other things. It's not a work machine. It's a, I'm going to play the game. When I'm done playing the game, I'll go do something else type machine. So perfect for those. And for $80, it's insane. It's insane. $80 CPU will play all games 60 FPS plus. It's that simple. Most of them will be at 100 or more, which is pretty darn good. I'm running a 3060 Ti, 1080p Ultra, with no problems. Okay, are you using res scaling or anything like that? Because I think I sold my 3060 Ti. I got a 3070. It's almost the same thing. But yeah, like the 3080 has some issues. It'll run 1440p. So yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, 3060 Ti, 1080p. That sounds about right. That's about the class that you want for 1080p. This is like on the bottom end. And as we did try 1080p, and as you saw, even in Atlantis, there is mostly getting 60. But that was on low. You can crank it up a little bit. It's not going to make that big of a difference. Ben saying, throw down some likes for our man Chris here. Yeah, that'd be really appreciated, guys. Let's see where we at. We got 91 and we got 75. All right. Which, by the way, if you're just tuning in now, we did test the game already. You can use the DVR function. Go back. You can check that out. Unfortunately, I couldn't display it properly. I couldn't show it to you properly because the capture device, the game limits to whatever your monitor refresh is, which in this case is 60 hertz on the capture device. So, womp, womp, womp. I didn't think about that. That's my bad. Even though my displays are both, 120 hertz or higher, but, it thinks the capture device is the monitor. Suppose I could always take the camera. We can do it that way. We can ghetto it up where I'm moving the camera and you can watch through that. That would be really annoying, but we're not going to do that one. It's all about undervolting, baby. Only on the high-end stuff, because they're pushed way too far. Oh, you still want to overclock, though, even if you are undervolting. Like, who wants 5.5 gigahertz on your Raptor Lake when you can easily get 5.6, 7, or 8? If you get super lucky, 9. Of course you want that extra. You want that extra. To be honest, this leaning on upscaling this early into the current gen. This gen's half over. A lot of people think it's early. This PS5 gen's about half over already. It's 3 years, boys. It's been 3 years. Or 6 more months, it's half over. A lot of people tend to forget that. It's scary stuff. The part that scares me, like I said, is the fact that they're removing options from you that have been around for quite a while now. Go back 5 years ago, pick out a AAA game, and look at the options menu, and it's going to be far more detailed with way more stuff for you to pick and choose what you want. Versus play a lot of these modern games, they're much more limited. Not all, like Resident Evil 4 had a lot, just like Resident Evil 2 did. Some games they still do that, but this game, for example, I remember Remnant when I did the video on that had like no options. Hogwarts had a fair amount, but it was still less than what you're used to. Like I said, if you want to see the gold standard of what a display or graphics option menu should look like, go play Gears 5. which if you're going to play Starfield, I'm sure you have Game Pass. So go check out Gears 5 as well. And literally you'll be like, yes, this is what an option menu look like. It should scare the shit out of any console player who looks at that. Anybody who does not understand how a PC works should be terrified looking at the menu because they don't understand anything that it's actually talking about. That's what I want. I want something that these people just can't comprehend. That's what presets are for. It's for those people. But for everybody else, I want a huge list that the average person wouldn't even know where to begin on. Let's see. The hardware was saying, I noticed that you added me. Said, I'll test Radeon 7 tonight and post results in Discord. If that's all right. Yeah, of course you can post your results. You don't have to ask me if you want to post something in Discord. Maximum memory bandwidth with the HBM and quad channel. Yeah. It's not memory bandwidth. You can already tell that because I don't know if you noticed during the capture, I pushed the my 3060 gets really high on the RAM. We were at what, 1740? I had it running at 18,000 megahertz there for a while. It was a little unstable, so I backed it back down a little bit. But so there's a lot of extra VRAM memory bandwidth on that over stock, and the performance didn't really do much. So I don't think that's it, unfortunately. Miko is asking, how does dynamic resolution work in this game? If I set the resolution scale to 100% with FSR, why would you do 100% and FSR? I'm curious on that front. Will dynamic resolution back down the res? Yeah, basically it picks a frame rate target, which will likely be whatever your display setting is. So if you have 120 hertz, it'll shoot for that, or 60. Maybe it'll just shoot for, I don't know, because they don't give you any real information in the menu. But I would imagine it's going to shoot for your resolution target because it caps to your monitor refresh rate, as we found out. So it will lower the resolution anytime it's below that. So for example, let's say you're running along, you're doing 120 FPS just fine, but then you look at that building that we were looking at, and it goes, I can't handle this. So you might go from 1080p, whatever your resolution is, down to all the way down to half or quarter, technically, your resolution, just so it can keep the frame rate high. That's how dynamic res works. It'll just bump down the resolution to keep the frame rates high under serious GPU load demands. I mean, it's really good if you don't bump under. Like, if you want to keep the frame time graph, like I showed you in yesterday's video, nice and flat, but you occasionally hit, like, some GPU spikes here or there. It's kind of useful for something that's really short and momentary. So if you're running, let's say, 1440p, and for, like, half a second, the image is 1080p or even 900p, who gives a crap? You're not really going to notice it that much. Maybe it'll be look like a little fuzzy or something, but it'll keep that nice frame time for you. So that's what it's supposed to be used for. But if it's just constantly keeping you below the resolution you want, then just lower the resolution. That's really the way to do it. Just wait for the special legendary Starfield edition. Now, what they do? They had the special legendary anniversary atomic mega out of this world 19th edition Gen 5 X23. Yeah, when you wait for that one, the one that comes out on GOG, then the game's gonna work just fine. 12 years from now, and you can run like a old RTX 8090 by then, which you could probably pick up for like $20, and then it'll just play the game just fine. So that's the other option. Just wait like a decade, play the game on nothing, and not worry about it. I think more realistically, let's just wait a couple of months, and it should be resolved. My whole point in doing this is it's software. This is not a hardware problem at all. At least not on the hardware that I'm using. The 12100, more than adequate, which is good to see and hilarious at the same time. And then the 3060 is not being properly utilized. That's a software problem. 100% for FSR sharpening, but hardware on box tested. CAS at 100%. has the sharpest image in Starfield. Yeah, you don't want to run FSR unless you just don't want to run it at all. To be perfectly honest. You get worse frame rate. Here's the thing. So let's say you did 50% scale FSR or CAS, which you could lower your desktop resolution, go that way as well. But if you're running 50% resolution, you're going to get lower frame rate with FSR. Sure, the image might be slightly better, but the goal of using these technologies is higher frame rate. So take the visual hit, just use CAS, or just manually do it yourself by lowering your desktop resolution. Which, by the way, the CAS and lowering your desktop resolution, I did test, you get the same frame rate. There's no frame rate hit. So it's as if you were running it natively, which is fine. Visually, you couldn't really tell the difference because it's a blurry mess. Pretty much any which way you slice it. So, yeah. If you have to lower your resolution, do not use FSR. There's other options that will get you higher frame rates. Same thing goes with DLSS. I showed this with the Remnant 2 thing. Yeah, so if you have to go lower res, just go lower res. Just do it that way. Don't use FSR or DLSS. Unless you're at 4K. 4K, those technologies actually work okay, but if you're doing 1440p or 1080p, don't use that. Just lower the res, take the hit, and move on. By the way, that's after you go to all low. That's step one. Then you go that route. Gold, thank you for the 50 Mexican pesos. He said, just finished Dishonored 1. There you go. A game that runs just fine. Which, by the way, GOG affiliate links are down below. You can go ahead and do that and pick up Dishonored. I think they're on sale right now. Said, great atmosphere and doesn't pull any punches on harsh realities. You can't see that anymore. I miss those games. Yeah, that's up there. I didn't really like the gameplay. I couldn't really get into it. It's too slow. It's like Thief. Not my thing. I just want to run around and just do a thing. But yeah, no, atmosphere is amazing. Art style is amazing. Yeah. But that's back in the heyday. The heyday of gaming, to me, is always going to be basically the year 2000 to about 2012. You had more creativity, more franchises were generated that are still relevant here today because they can't make anything superior to those in that time frame. Basically, that was the golden age for gaming, was in that era. And I think we're kind of screwed at that point. Wait Chads stay winning, basically. Yeah, Wait Chads always win. You can't lose. Yeah. If you wait a year on literally everything, you will always win because you'll get the discounts, you get the deals, and that's at least a year. You know, there's guys in here that are still chilling on X99 just going, yeah, it still works. Still good. Still going. So if you've been rolling that for like 5 or 6 years now, or 2014, coming up on 10 years, even if you spent, you know, $1,500 on a CPU and motherboard, like, you're still getting the deals, man. But I think a lot of people picked those up once they got cheap. But they've been cheap for like 3 or 4 years now. And they're still working. Slow Hardware is saying, Ivan bans people for posting benchmark results. That's why. Yeah, well, Ivan doesn't want to deal with any of that. He doesn't want to hear about the hardware stuff. That's just the way he wants his Discord to run. Mine, you can post stuff. As long as it has value, it's fine. And I'll make fun of you if you post something stupid. So, you can still post it. I'll just be like, that's dumb, or okay. Or I'll just straight up ignore you. No brightness slider either. Yeah. I've never had to use the brightness slider on an OLED, by the way. Like, just every game, when it loads up, just works. Fantastic. So, I always forget about that. But yeah, that, you know, it's kind of strange that's a thing. FOV. Honestly, FOV, I could care less about. You know what I really want? Whatever's nuking performance in there, I want to be able to turn it off. Whether that's volumetrics. Every post-processing effect needs an off toggle. Every single one. And I will turn them all off and go one at a time until I find whatever it is that's nuking performance. Please. How hard is this? I mean, they have access to it. They just have to throw it in the GUI and just make the list longer. Game of the Year Master Race. Ben's got it. Yeah, that I need to make that a t-shirt. I'm gonna write that one down. That's good. Thank you, Ben. Yeah. The year master race. That's fantastic. All right, so we've been kind of. Oh, Gold, thank you for the 2 pesos. He says, Ivan, the king of the nerds, and he hates his crown. Yes, he does. It's actually quite hilarious. I've literally had to talk him. What was it? We were talking about he just doesn't want to do consults anymore, which he said many times. So this isn't news, right? Went into a little bit more detail, but I'm like, dude, you know, there's people paying you $500 to basically hang out with you for an hour, and just looking at it from that angle, he's like, yeah, I never really looked at it from that angle. It's like, there you go. It's better that way, right? And yeah, so he's doing fine. But yes, no, he would rather just. Honestly, he'd rather just play Overwatch and make the same amount of money, but you know that's not how it works. It's not how it works sometimes. So, anyways, I wanted to talk about some housekeeping stuff. Then we'll go move on to some of the news that's out there. So, housekeeping stuff. I did want to poll you guys on this because it's just annoying. But I'm thinking about breaking up the channel into like its own separate thing. So, there's the Good Old Gamer Live channel, which has existed before. I was doing that a year or so ago. I'm thinking about doing all the live streams over there so I could leave them up and it won't hurt this channel. So this way I could just do it and still, you know, basically benefit off of those videos instead of having to hide them and make them exclusive just for members. And then I'm going to be doing a Great Old Gamer channel, which, by the way, there's links down below. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and do so. No videos on that one yet. I did 2 videos for the main channel. Then I had to watch the kids. Then Starfield came out. So just ran out of time. But on that one, if you are a member, I have a huge list of games. I'm going to highlight all those games in my own special way. That will not do well on the Good Old Gamer channel because I've tried doing videos like that. So that's going to be a separate channel. It's just going to basically be me playing the game and explaining why I like it. It's just for you guys out there that like, I don't know what to play. Quick overviews of older games. So I'm going to be doing that. That one definitely needs to be separated. But for the Good Old Gamer Live, for that to get monetized, so this way you guys can support, do supers and that sort of stuff, that we need 1,000 subscribers and I think like 4,000 watch hours. So I wanted to poll you guys, do you think it's a good idea for me to split that off? And this way I can leave them up and you can watch them whenever you want. Members can do that anyway, but without being a member, you'll have access to them pretty much whenever you want to watch them. Or should I keep them here? I want to poll you guys on that one. Is it just easier for you, or would you be willing to go subscribe over there? And if you are willing to subscribe over there, when I'll upload the videos here onto there, we need to hit that subscriber goal, and we need to hit what was it? The watch hour goal. So even if you've watched the videos or whatever, if you guys can help out, just let them run in the background or something. That would help out so we can get there. Because honestly, I'm not going to switch until you guys can support, because this is a large portion of the revenue for the channel. But should I move live streams to separate? Spelling is hard. Separate channel. Yeah, I guess that's good enough. And did I do the wrong one? Oh, that's Q&A. No. Sorry. I went the wrong one. Poll. That's what we need. Move my streams to... All right. And we got a few in here. The cool 2T. Sorry about that. Thank you for the 2 spot. A lot of 2s there. It was throwing me off. He said, how large a monitor before going to 8K? 120 inches. And less, don't even waste your time. Basically, 8K is irrelevant for gaming. Now, 8K is not irrelevant for gaming in terms of resolution. So, what do I mean? You don't need an 8K display, but you might want to run a game at 8K. Super sampling, for example, so this way you can turn off things like TAA, or basically just bad anti-aliasing solutions out there. If you have a powerful enough PC to run at 8K, you can go ahead and do that and then lower it down to 1440p or 4K or whatever. and that'll clean up that image. That's really the only area that I could see 8K being useful, is being able to do away with all other forms of anti-aliasing and just run super high resolutions. But in terms of actual visual difference, you can go online. There's literally things they'll tell you. I think it's like 120 inches or something. That's when they're like, yeah, 8K makes any sort of difference. Let's see. Speaking of running games, Watch Dogs 2 has been giving me some random crashes on AMD. There's also a super low quality mod for it. You gotta love the modders. Yeah, like, you know, they want... Was it the Doom 3 one? Yeah, Doom 3 on a Voodoo 2. Go check out that video. It's pretty hilarious. To be honest, keep it here. I already, I'd keep it here, but I already subbed to the other channel. Okay, well, I appreciate that. But let's see. That's pretty funny. Okay, so maybe what I'll do is I'll stream here and upload to over there. What do you guys think about that? Just let me know in the chat. Does that make more sense? Because then this way they can stay up. You know, because there's a lot of content that I create that pretty much just goes behind the membership paywall, because only those people can access it when I unlist them. I'm like, might as well try to gain subs out of this. So maybe that'd be the way to go, kind of the balance. So this way, record here, upload over there, and unlist on this channel. What do you guys think on that one? We're going to lose our subscription track record. Well, actually, that's a good point. So doing it the way that... Here, I'm going to end this poll. We'll just do it that way. So this way it doesn't hurt the main channel, and we can go ahead and everything stays the same. So cool. All right. There we go. We talked it through. Came up with the optimal solution. Thank you, guys. So I love live streams. Not just me talking to myself and figuring stuff out. You guys help. Thank you. Is a 1650 8-core like the like the 1680 is. I'm gonna upgrade his CPU. 1650. Are you talking about like the V3s? I think the 1650 is, yeah, on the V3. Sorry, when you say 1650, I immediately think GTX 1650, because that's the most recent, like, 1650 that comes up. 1680 V2. 1680 V2 is the 8-core for Ivy Bridge and X79. I want one, but there's no real practical reason for me to get one. It's one of those things, like, I'd get it, I'd test it, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool, and then I'd be like, well, now I gotta sell this, and believe it or not, those old chips, even though they're still good, they're just tough to sell. Okay, so let's jump on over to some newsage real quick, because some things came up right before we got going here. And let's go to play cap. All right, so we're gonna jump on over here to video cards. But let me do this one, full screen cap. There you go. All right, so let's get on in here. So this one really caught my attention. I really didn't look through it too much. So apparently the i9 14900K hitting 6 gigahertz on the engineering sample. So Ivan and I actually had a debate on this one because from what I heard, the 14900Ks are an extra plus. It's not the same manufacturing lithography, so it actually should be a little bit more advanced. And from what I heard, you should get about 200 megahertz extra out of it. So it's not a big difference. It's still just Raptor Lake. But if you think about it, current Raptor Lake gets to 5.8 pretty dang easy. So if you get 200 megahertz on top, that means 6 gigahertz all-core should be mostly common. Not all of them will do it, but most of them should be able to do it. Versus a 13900KS. So apparently, out of the box, this isn't overclock. This is them just running it out of the box. It is boosting up to 6 gigahertz. And then when we come down here to single core, obviously it's going ahead and beating the 13900KS, which also does theoretical 6 gigahertz by about 3%, 5% or so, which means that this is actually running faster. It's the exact same architecture, right? and they run at the same speed in single core. This one's actually running the 6 gigahertz, whereas this one lies. Kind of like what AMD does. It's like, yeah, it high-fived, you know, that whatever our target speed was for like a microsecond. This one's actually doing it. And then you have like a 7 or 8% gain on multi-thread, which means that the cores are going faster for longer. So if we just do some basic math here, how much faster is that? So you take 18,118 divided by 17,197. 5% faster. Okay, so it's 5% faster. Just so you know, 5% slower does not usually equate to 5% faster, sort of a thing. That's why I wanted to do that. So yeah, that kind of indicates a 200 to 300 megahertz difference. 250 actually at 5 gigahertz is 5%. So probably closer to 300 megahertz sustained overall. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So this does lend credence to what I heard. That's why I'm bringing this up. I would expect the new CPUs to be about 200 megahertz faster overall. Not a big deal. Once 13th gen gets discounted, you're just going to be better off buying that because they'll be way cheaper. But just wanted to throw that out there. If you thought it was going to be the exact same thing, probably not. It's not what I heard, and that's not what this shows. So that's why I wanted to throw that out there. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on here, guys. What I find hilarious is everybody's making little funky new shrouds for their graphics cards because they're like, yeah, nobody wants to buy just plain Jane graphics cards anymore. They're not in demand. We need kitties and puppies and I don't know what that is. Graphics cards. I know it's some anime thing. It's not my jam. And then you get Z790 Max boards that are going to cost more. They have more PCB layers. That's fine. But yeah, whatever. This is actually kind of cool, though. 4060 Ti dropping in price. That'd be pretty good. If we can get the single fan version, that would fit in this case, which you guys in Europe do get access to. They do make 16 gigabyte 3060 Ti's that will fit in this little guy. We don't have them here in the US, which sucks. But if they do come out with those at $430, you pair that with this case, because AMD does not get small form factor nothing, so they're completely off the table as an option. That would be pretty good. So around $400 for the 16 gig version. Count me in. I would buy one. So we're almost there. I think that's pretty good. NVIDIA actually dropping prices. Now, it's not an official thing. They're just, you know, price dropping. But NVIDIA doesn't do that too often. So that's what I found interesting about that one. And then what else do we got? VR Go backpacks. Yes. Look like a Ghostbuster. I remember when those were a big thing like 7 or 8 years ago. Excuse me. It's a really cool idea, but impractical. Just, you want a mini PC, you buy this. Way cheaper. Just do that. Instead of paying Zotac $1 bajillion. Oh, 3,700 pounds, which is like $4.5 grand. Yeah, don't do that. Just buy this guy. You can literally carry this anywhere. Yeah, all right, so that's about it on the news, but I did want to bring that up. We can discuss a little bit there, and then I'll take a few questions. If you're a member, you can jump over to the Discord, jump under the Q&A, and then I think we'll call it there. It's a pretty nice day out, and I'm going to go ahead and play me some STARFIELD. I probably won't, but I might. I don't know. Seems halfway okay. Let's see. Goal, thank you so much for the 20 Mexican pesos. People running 6 gigahertz, 3200 megahertz C16. Make your bets. They'll run DDR5. They'll run 6000 C30. If AMD did anything right with their marketing, well, their marketing on Ryzen's actually really good, but they really made this DDR5 6000 C30 thing like the standard. Because when they launched AM5, they sent all the reviewers this RAM. And at that point in time, that was actually pretty fast. So most reviewers just keep using that instead of getting good RAM. You know, like 7200, 7600, 8000, 8500. Very few of them will go out and buy the fastest RAM when they don't have to. So AMD did really good with that. If Intel's smart, what they'll do is they'll ship all the review samples with a motherboard and with DDR5 8000 plus, and make sure that the chips can hit that too. And then the reviewers have no excuse not to do that anymore. And technically, AMD chips can do 8000 now, so there's really no reason for them not to use it for both of them. Except that takes work and knowledge and effort, and we'll see how lazy people get. But if Intel literally gives them away and they don't use it, it's pretty silly. But that was a smart marketing move by AMD. Railman, thank you for the 10 Ron. He says, what Z motherboard with DDR4 would you recommend for 13600K? Any of them's pretty much fine, to be honest. I say any of them, but I'm sure there's probably some crappy ones. Don't buy the really crap boards. So, like, go over here to Newegg. We can do that. Let's jump back on over. What not to buy? All right, so. No, we need motherboards. Motherboards, Chris. Reading is hard. This is why I like doing the podcast with Paul. He can kind of do a thing with me. All right, so we're doing those, and you want a DDR4. Boom. By the way, this is how I shop. Only ship from Newegg, lowest price. Let's go. Okay, so these are junk. Moving on. Still junk. Moving on. The Pro P, still junk. Moving on. Almost not junk. All right, so you got the Steel Legend. So that'd be the cheapest one. I had one of these. Its only real drawback, where are you? Is the I/O. It only has 5 USB Type A slots. I'm not a big fan of that. That was its only real drawback, though, but this board was pretty awesome. It's also one of the best looking motherboards. Z790. Like, this one looks pretty cool, too, but I don't know. I just don't trust these Pro Series boards unless it's MSI. Like, just spend the extra bucks and don't worry about it. The MSI A Pro, if you can get one of those like used or refurbished, remember they were $65. I was shilling those, or the Tomahawks for $85. That was really the way to go. Yeah. So like, this is probably going to be the best option. Like, if I were to buy, I'd go either with that or with this. You get more USBs on here, so it just depends if you need the USBs. Or best bet is to wait for a deal. But either of these boards will do you just fine. What's the other option? We can see open box and refurbs. Do they have anything crazy? They got some really, really good deals on this stuff. There you go. Steel Legend open box, $110. Boom. There you go. I have Newegg affiliate links in the description. Just click on any of them, then pick it up. $110. There you go. That's how you do it. Or 120 with shipping. There you go. Done. Done. Does the job. It's beautiful. Skip the primes. I know a lot of people love Asus. Do not buy a prime board unless it's like the Prime A. That one's actually halfway okay. Z690 Extreme. There's nothing extreme about it, but if you want to spend $2 more and you like the aesthetics, boom, that's a halfway decent option. A Pro 142. I don't know if that's a big enough discount to be worth it. Like I said, these were $65 if you took advantage of that a couple months ago. I spammed the hell out of it, so I warned you guys. So yeah, I'd probably go with that. $110. Boom, done. Yes, it's open box, but if it has a problem, return it. So Chief Ted, thank you for the $199. He says, do you think $750 is a good deal for 7900 XT? No, I bought a 7900 XTX for $709 and returned it because nobody bought it because they thought it was a bad deal. So 7900 XT is a $500 to $600 GPU at best, and the XTX is like a $500 to $600 GPU best. Because people just aren't interested in it, which means that there'll be those prices here in the not too distant future. Remember, these are about a year old. We're 1 year away from next gen coming out, so you can't be paying premium prices for almost obsolete products. If you wait till next year, you'll be able to get a 7900 XT for $400. Give it a year and you'll be good to go. New Doughboy, thank you for the 5. He says, not a competitor, but hey, beer on me. Thanks for the stream and useful content. Hey, thank you, buddy. That works. Speaking of the competitors, so what I'm thinking about doing, I just forgot to do it, but if you are a competitor, you know who you are, or if you want to get into that tier, I'm gonna have a little thing on the side. So each month, competitors are gonna stay on there. So you compete once and you get credit all month long. I was kind of there's a lot of room. Where is it? Over here. So I could put something over here. I wanted to do something more for the people that do support at that level. And I was like, having everybody know every month that these people have competed is the way to go. So that is going to be something starting this month. So if anybody does happen to compete on this one, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, I need a new capture device. That's actually an extra perk that'll be happening. And also the sound effect should be working if you do so. I should actually check my PayPal because some of you guys go that way, which also counts. And let's see if we got any secret competitors. No, we don't. Boo. That's all right. I really appreciate everybody and their support. 1 gifted sub from Capono. Thank you. Get somebody else in here. I do need to make another post with a link. So whoever gets the gifted sub, which is Spook, which you're already in there. So welcome, Spook. I don't have to worry about getting you a link. So thank you, guys. Thank you all for your support on that one. I'm going to go ahead and read what you guys were talking about. Go back a little bit when we were talking about the news stuff. I'm kind of curious to see what you guys had there. Gigabyte just put out an ITX 4060. Oh, yeah, that's the low-profile one. Sold out immediately. Yeah, 100%. Nobody wants mid-sized graphics cards, right? Like the ones that most of these people produce. It's like nobody wants that. Super small, super compact, super mega huge. Like there should be no middle-of-the-road graphics card in terms of size. Because nobody really wants that. You know, most people that have like a smaller case or want efficiency, they'll be fine with a tinier, more compact form factor, assuming that it works, with a lower price tag to go with it, right? And then the people that are like, screw that, I want 80 pounds of copper. Okay, the thing costs twice as much. Here you go. We'll throw every LED on planet Earth in it. There's your option. That seems to be where things are going, right? Like the GPUs that are just over-spec'd in size, like they're not big enough that the big boys are going to like it, and they're not small enough to be useful for any small form factor builds. I just don't see any real point for those. Yeah, I think it's just going to become harder and harder for these guys to sell those things. There was something I was going to pull up, but I forgot, so we'll just see what else you guys were talking about. Import Rage just joined the live stream like 5 minutes ago. Well, I'm sorry I'm late, but welcome. A770 sold out. Price bracket empty. Corner of the market. A770s aren't sold out. They've been on sale here. I don't know. I guess it depends on where you live. Oh, that's right. There's actually a hella good deal, which I kind of purposefully linked because you can't buy the motherboard that I tested on my little computer. Do I still have it? Okay. No. Let me pull you guys over. So there is actually a good deal out there that I did want to highlight. I put it on Discord. I am on the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. There we go. Okay. So on this one right here, it's not, yeah. So the motherboard that I used, the link down below does not go to the motherboard that I actually used because you can't buy it anymore. Not at any reasonable price. But this guy is on sale. So if you wanted a really good deal on an Intel motherboard, the Z790i Ultralight or Ultra, this is a big difference. So you can go ahead and click the link down below. It'll actually take you to this one because you can't buy the other one. So this is a 2-DIMM DDR5 motherboard. It's a 10-layer PCB. It's got the best chokes and VRM that you can get for an ITX board. And I have the ultralight version of this, which is DDR4. It's all top quality, and it works really, really well. This will actually have proper working PCIe 5, but it's like $100 off right now. So $250 for this class of motherboard has yet to be seen on Z790. So This is a pretty damn good deal. So just click the link for the Z690 down below. It'll take you here because it was basically my subtle way of saying buy this instead. Because this is the better deal. And you can't buy the other one anyway. Or maybe I linked you to eBay. I'm not really sure. Anyways, just click any Amazon affiliate link. They also have it on Newegg. If you wanted to go Newegg, they have it for the same price. So this is a pretty damn good deal on a motherboard that I forgot to mention. The guys in Discord already know about it. I was going to pick one up, but I don't really need it. But I don't know. I was still thinking about grabbing one. Doughboy, you said that's smart. AMD should sign you up. Or, oh, Intel should sign you up. Okay. I know a lot of the guys, or I know some people at Intel do watch. I know some of the people at AMD do watch. It's kind of funny when I do say things. I'm like, AMD should do this, that, or the other thing. And they're starting to implement a lot of it. That's why I'm like, their marketing's getting better. Intel, if you guys are watching, yeah, you should probably shoot me an email. I'll be like, your marketing is terrible. However, my rep over there is amazing. She's really awesome, but their marketing is just really bad. Railman, thank you for the 25. Ron, he said, what about DDR4 Z board for 13700K? Same thing, man. Budget's 300, not mini ITX. Well, mini ITX are better than ATX most of the time, unless you go to the top of the line. Basically, the best way to look at it is ITX is a top of the line ATX board, so like a Godlike or Maximus Extreme level board, just crammed smaller, and that's why they still cost like $300 instead of like $700 or $800. So you get much better components on ITX than you do on the bigger ones. But if you need the expansion slots, yeah, you got to go with MATX, which there's really no MATX 1700 boards worth talking about besides the Strix G, which, yeah, good luck finding one of those. So it's really just ITX or ATX or EATX at this point. But yeah, no matter what your CPU is, the ones that I told you, that's the way to go. 13900K, no problem on either of those boards. So he's talking DDR4, so you don't need an 8-layer board. They're all 6-layer. The only 1700 board DDR4 that's more than 6 layers is the Z690i ITX motherboard. So basically, I have the best DDR4 motherboard you can get. Yeah. In terms of overclocking, but it doesn't really matter that much. Just get any of the other ones, you'll hit DDR4 4000. It'll work. Waiting for next gen to upgrade. That's smart. Harry says he's sorry he's late. Well, welcome, buddy. So you're a member, so you can just go through and rewatch later. But the Good Old Gamer live channel, we figured it out together. So I'll re-upload there. So if you guys have come in late and you want to watch this again later, and you're not a member, make sure you subscribe. The link is down below to the Good Old Gamer live channel. I will re-upload the live streams there. This way they're up on YouTube, and they won't negatively affect the main channel. But I will still continue to do the live streams on the main channel. So this way you guys, convenience factor, and I don't have to worry about like view count and hitting certain metrics to make YouTube happy. So this way we can do supers. So it kind of fits for everybody. Got a bit of a hum. Anyways, gotta go. Been fun, Chief. Living the dream. Take care, buddy. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. And then we got Goal. Thank you for the 20 Mexican pesos. He said Lisa sues Coffee Man spying Chris for ideas. I guarantee you. Well, I don't know if they spy, but yeah. I don't know. I've given out a lot of free advice that, like, if somebody's like, hey, can you help us out with this, I would charge a lot of money for. But like these companies, I want to see them compete properly, so this way we all get better deals and better pricing. So I'm like, I'm giving out a lot of good ideas for free, and some of them are being implemented, which I do find hilarious. Could be an accident, but the fact that I've been railing on a lot of this stuff for a long time seems a little too nuanced. AMD's GPU marketing is terrible. Yes. CPU 1 is really good. I don't know if I would call it really good. It's just Intel's marketing on all fronts is so bad. It's like you could be the worst, dodgeball player ever, right? But if we put you in a match against a kid with no legs, no wheelchair, like basically they're just on the ground and they can't move. Yeah, you're better than them. Okay, congratulations, right? It's not exactly an accomplishment. Not entirely sure what happened to Intel's marketing. They used to be really good. Remember all them people dancing in the spacesuits and whatever on the TV commercials? Like, everybody knows that. Like, that was good marketing. Like, it didn't matter. Nobody knew what they were doing. It's just when they went to the store to buy the computer. Oh, Intel, that's the dancing spacesuit man people. And that was really interesting or whatever. It basically just puts a positive image in people's minds, even though when they're looking at the thing, they don't even know what the hell's going on. Whoever was in charge of marketing then obviously knew what they were doing. Today, I don't have a clue what they're doing. I don't see any proper advertising. They're changing their names to make stuff more confusing. I don't know. Send me a check for $100K Intel and I'll fix it all. You could fire everybody. That's huge savings. Now, I'm not going to implement any of it. I'm just going to write a little list of things that need to be done and have somebody else do it. But for $100K, I will give you the list that will fix all of your marketing blunders. There we go. Open invitation. I want a giant dono here on the stream so everybody can see. Let me see. Railman, thank you for the 10 RON Z690i. What brand? The only DDR4 one is the Gigabyte. Well, you have the ASRock one, but like the cheapo ASRock one, those aren't very good. They're great for like non-K SKUs. Yeah, I know. I understand. Z board and non-K SKUs. You can't undervolt non-Z boards anymore until another great marketing decision on there. So that board is like what you buy for like a 12100 or 12400 or 13400 is the cheapo Z690 or Z790 ITX boards. But if you want the higher end stuff, they're like $300. The one that I showed you right there, the DDR5 one, the Z790i at $250, that is a deal. Like a lot of people will be like, that's expensive for a motherboard. That's cheap. That's good. Motherboards cost lots of money today. It's not great. But once again, if you wait a year, that motherboard will be $150, $120 and back down to reality. So the waiters still win. Could DSE compression really be an issue on NVIDIA cards in the near future? I'm not even familiar with DSE compression, so don't know. And if it is, NVIDIA will find a way around it. There's literally nothing that can come out that will make NVIDIA stumble. They have too much money. They can fix all problems. If it's a problem, they'll fix it. And if it's a problem and they don't fix it, that means they probably want you to buy the new thing where it is fixed. So they're literally at the point now where all problems should be solvable. We got I'll try to hold on to next gen, maybe get a good deal on a 2080 Ti or a 1080 Ti. 2080 Ti's are expensive now. They've gone back up. You're best off getting a 3080. I sold my last 2080 Ti for more than I paid for it. So they're selling for more than what they were when I was shilling them. You can get 3080s for about $380, which is like $20 or $30 more. So just go get a 3080 10 gig. Might just keep my 1080 Ti going as best as I can. As long as you don't buy the current games, you'll be fine. If you just stick with the older titles and indies, 1080 Ti will be fine. Current games are just way too heavy for it. It's all about the Pentiums. Weird Al said so. There you go. I'm a Mac. I'm a PC. I'm AMD. Yeah. Where's the link for your second channel? It should be in the description. Let me double check. Yeah, if you scroll down, it's above the PayPal stuff. We got the Good Old Gamer, which is the main channel. The Great Old Gamers, where we're actually going to look at games. If you're interested in games, old games particularly, especially if you're younger and you're like, I've never played older games, I'm going to highlight my favorites on that channel. I'm going to try to do at least one a week. And then, let's see, we got the Good Old Gamer Live. That's where the live streams will be uploaded later. So I'll do that probably overnight. Should be up by tomorrow. And they'll stay up there so everybody can rewatch them. And then Techonomics. If you don't know what that is, what are you doing with your life? Click on that, subscribe. I literally wrote it out in there. So Paul from Not an Apple Fan and I go live on Mondays. Boom. Man. I made things as simple as possible on that one. But I just can't believe I actually wrote that out. But I guess, you know, if you don't know, you don't know. Let's see. Harry saying that's so cheap, man. I guess you're talking about the 3080s. 3080s are pretty darn cheap, yeah. It's basically the only graphics card anybody should be buying until you hit like 7900 XTX 4080, 4090 level. Because that does 1440p. I got one right there. Spook sent one over. It looks really great in the case now that I got the RGB going, by the way, Spook. I have to take some pictures of it and everything. But it does, even on Starfield, does 1440p. So that's your 1440p card, sub $400. All other cards, irrelevant, at least here in the United States. 4K card, you're just best off buying a 4090, which, by the way, I have the F it, I'll just go for it link in the video description. If you want to just buy a 4090 and say, the hell with it, I want to run my 4Ks and I don't care about money. Just go that route. Uh, 1080 Ti's are almost as expensive as what? 1080 Ti is pretty cheap from what I saw. Let's see. It's only an issue for Connor because of the way he uses his PC and does testing. Not a problem for the vast majority of people. Oh, you're talking about good old Connor having issues with NVIDIA. Yeah, he had some weird problems that I've never seen. I don't know. Now, I understand the DisplayPort thing. That's a bit of an issue for his Display Guy channel because, yeah, not being able to do like 4K 240 over a single cable. That's annoying. Why they didn't, go ahead and put DisplayPort on the 40 series? My guess is because the 40 series was actually supposed to be the 30 series, and technologically it was just held back because they went with Samsung instead of TSMC. That's my real guess as to why they don't have DisplayPort 2.1. They brought out like 3-year-old technology, like 1 gen back technology. That's my guess. They're like, yeah, AMD can't compete. We got to use our old stuff. We spent money on this. It's still good. Let's bring it out. Kind of like Maxwell. They basically released it twice. Once on 28 nanometer, once on 16 nanometer. It's like, yeah, it's the same thing, but it goes faster, so it looks better. I think they did have some advances on the engine, though, in that one. 1080 Ti is the same price as 2080 Ti, which is the same price as a 3080. That's pretty nuts. Yeah, no, get the 3080 then. All right, so we're actually about there. No card can run 4K 240 hertz anyway. Says who? You're not running Starfield, but let's go with Crisis Remastered. Guarantee you 4090 will do 4K 240. Boom, done. I can play tons of games at 4K 240. I don't know what world. I can play more games at 4K 240 on a 4090 than games that I can't run at 4K 240 on a 4090. The problem is the 4090 can't run the display at 4K 240. It's kind of hilarious when you really look at it from that perspective. But how many games need 4K 240? You're better off with a 1440p, like 360 hertz or something anyway. If you need the super high frame rate, why settle for 240? All right, so let's jump on over to Discord, which if you are a member or a subscriber or a Patreon or all of the stuff that I really appreciate, you get to go ahead and ask some stuff, which nobody seemed to take advantage of that. Beautiful. All right, so everybody's just going in the chat. I think I'm getting through most of those. Okay, cool. So I'll double check through this, and then, yeah, I think we'll call it. Everybody can enjoy the rest of their Sunday. I'm a little hungry. I'm going to go get me some pizza and enjoy some quiet. Old games, come on, man. Yeah, well, you're not running 4K 240 in any modern games ever on any graphics card ever. Will never happen. Just like 4K 120 is very difficult. And even that doesn't work. You can't run Starfield 4K 120 on a 4090. It's a 4K 60 card. It'll get kicked down real quick with the way that these guys are going. So, yeah, ever expecting to run 4K 240 on a newly released game, even if your graphics card cost $3 million, is probably not going to be a thing. So, yeah, it's only old games that'll run that. Ever. And to be honest, you should probably only be playing old games anyway, because old games are the only good games, for the most part. You'll get 1 or 2 decent games a year. A lot of people like Starfield, but you can go play Fallout New Vegas. Guarantee you Fallout New Vegas is a better game. Bet you it does. Bet you it is. And that'll run on a GTX 750 Ti. No problems. So, what are we talking about here? NVIDIA should have trade-in program. Is your PC feeling slow? You can't compete. And it has to, see, but NVIDIA's smart enough to market it that way. Like, that's what Intel needs, is they need the, don't be poor. Get a 13900 KS. Yeah, it's twice as much for 2% better, but don't be a bitch. That's basically the marketing that Intel needs to go for. Because they have the products to cater to those people. They just don't do it. Sad, feeling limp. Trade in your AMD GPU. Oh, yeah, that would actually be really good. And NVIDIA has so much money that they could probably do that and then make all of that money back by making YouTube videos as to what they do with them. You know, like handing it. Oh, man, that's marketing genius. That is fantastic. Like, you go around handing graphics cards to homeless people and just go, hey, man, here you go. You can use this. And then, like, have them throw it into a barrel and set it on fire at night. And, you know, that sort of, like, perfect. Make YouTube videos on that. They probably make all of their money back from buying up the AMD graphics cards or enough of it off of stuff like that. Yes, but that, see, like, that's genius marketing. Like, Intel could do the same thing. Be like, give us your AMD graphics card. And, like, just do something funny with it. Yeah, it's like, are you tired of getting, like, just find a game with an issue with an AMD card or a few games and then just, like, post that. Are you tired of this issue? Get something great. Blah, 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 blah. Trade-in program. This is how we use AMD graphics cards. And, I don't know, throw it in the ocean or something. Whatever. Put them where they belong, sort of a thing. Like, that sort of marketing. Maybe it's because I grew up in the 90s and that's how marketing was. It was way over the top and crazy and in your face, but it worked. The fact that I remember how crazy some of those commercials were just shows that that works. But you have to be offensive. That's the real problem. You can't be in somebody's face and crazy and over the top and make everybody happy and feel good. You have to basically alienate a large portion of the population that aren't going to buy your stuff anyway, and poke fun at those people. And that's how marketing needs to be done. DisplayPort 1.4 won't display 4K 240. No, it will not. You need DisplayPort. It might even be 2.1, but it's at least 2.0. You can do 4K 60 in Starfield. From what I saw, nothing does 4K 60 in Starfield. Maybe the 4090 did. I don't know. It's not fast enough, let's put it that way. But we already took a look at that. Did you see the Asus OLED? Yeah, it does. It has DisplayPort 1.4, so it's DOA. They have to update that. And then, like I said, it's a real miss for NVIDIA not having that. By the way, did you have Space Marine on that list? Yes, I do. Oh, sorry, Goal. I'm sorry. I was just kind of doing them in order. Thank you for the super reset low, that 80s and 90s marketing with the extreme. 100%. Like that's how marketing needs to be done today because everybody's too overly sensitive. You need to just like find sensitive people and run over them with your product. Literally, like drive over sensitive people on your commercial. And because people are over that crap now. People want the hardcore, especially if you're asking people to spend like $1,000 on a freaking motherboard and $2-3 grand on a GPU. Nobody wants sensitive and nice. They want no, fuck the other guy because they're a piece of shit and I'll fight them in a steel cage. Isn't that what's going on with Zuckerberg and what's his name, Twitter man, Elon? Yeah, aren't they going to go fight in a steel cage? Because they understand that that's where the marketing needs to be today to be successful. It needs to be as offensive as you can actually air without, like literally getting fined at this point in time. You have to be that in your face because that marketing, people today just aren't used to it. If you're in your like early 20s, you've probably never even seen anything that crazy. And so it'll stand out, basically is what I'm saying. So that's where marketing needs to go back to. The nice, we can all get along, kumbaya bullshit that we've been dealing with for the last like 15, 20 years. Those days are over. It's, if you buy AMD, you're poor. That needs to be NVIDIA's literal marketing strategy. Like, that is their strategy. Let's be honest. We all know it. But, like, they need to come out and say that if they were trying to gain market share, which we know that they don't. But that's why Intel should take that, because NVIDIA is leaving that one on the table. Intel really just needs to come out with, like, some, like, I don't know, crazy-ass futuristic GPU, especially if AMD doesn't have a high end. And then they can come out and be like, don't be poor, buy an Intel. Same thing on the CPU side. Don't be poor, buy an Intel. And then just like show your stuff absolutely murdering the other guy. Yeah. AMD should do the same thing, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Like their marketing of, oh, we're faster, blah, blah, blah. You're spending all this time lying. You're not hyping it up, though. It's like, if you're going to lie to your customers, at least lie good and make them like super happy with the lie, like when they threw the 4070 under the bus, the 7800 XT ain't going to touch a 4070. It's not even going to be in the same league. But they came out with the balls to say, yeah, we can beat this. But they didn't really like hamper on that. It was just like, yeah, we're faster than a 4070. Move on to the next thing. Been like, 4070 is shit, and just have somebody break one on stage. Like that's the type of marketing that would get people going. Man, the 4070 is that bad? It falls apart when Scott Herkelman smashes it over his head? Boom. Marketing 101. By the way, if you see this stuff starting to pop up next generation, tell these people to give me a check. The video froze. Let's see, where are we at? Sorry, guys. The camera is not frozen. It must be this guy. Let me see if I turn you off and on. Okay, so sorry about that. I've had this on for quite a while. So my guess is the cam link probably overheated. That happens if you leave it on for too long. But yeah, my camera is still working, so it is inside the PC. I guess I could unplug it and replug it back in. We'll see if that does the thing. So if we go blank, I'll just end it here. But yeah, just give me 1 sec. Let's see if this will fix it. Nope, it was OBS. Alrighty, guys. So with that, I guess we'll just wrap it up here. That really sucks. I was really getting into my marketing ideas. It'd be really, really cool. I was very animated too. So, anyways, what was that? 10 minutes ago, no one cared. Yeah, I was just kind of rambling. because yeah, we're trying to get the end here, but yeah, sounds like it'd be fun. Anyways, if you guys liked the stream, make sure you go ahead and subscribe over at the Good Old Gamer Live. Link is down below, where you can rewatch at any time if you'd like, and it also helps support that channel and getting that going. Also, we will be doing the Great Old Gamer. Link is down below for that one. Subscribe. First game we're going with is Slave Zero, which, if you don't know what that is, it's an amazingly fun game. It's an older game, and yeah, basically you're a mech, third-person action. You blow shit up. It's a lot of fun. So we're gonna start with that one. Can't wait to get that going. Just ran out of time this week. Should be going up. I have time. I might actually do that here after this. And get that up within the next few days. So that's another channel. And then, of course, Techonomics. We won't be going live tomorrow. Paul's got some stuff going on, so we will reschedule that one for later on in the week. But yeah, I want to thank everybody for joining. Hope you guys had a good time. My frozen face is a little bit better than Paul's was the other day. So I don't feel so bad about leaving this video up. But I want to thank you guys so much. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you guys all on Techonomics sometime next week. I'll let you guys know when that is. Make sure you're subscribed so this way you can find out. So, alrighty guys, take care, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.